newsletter will be coming out next Thursday, which will be July 1st. And I haven't started writing it yet. I haven't started writing it yet, but the big change with that will be a week after the email goes out to everybody on the email list. There will be an audio version that will be posted on the unfoundpodcast.com. So already with the recent changes to the Patreon blog, where I not just write it, but then I read it and also post the MP3 file in Patreon, I'm going to be doing that with the newsletter as well. It'll be both written and there will be an audio file on the website. And so I think, but it won't be come out at the same time. It's going to come out a week later. I want to encourage people to get on the email list. So if you're not on the email list, contact me at unfoundpodcast at gmail.com. Unfoundpodcast at gmail.com. LaFord says the last, I meant the last Unfound Now. Yeah, this young woman who in Texas, seen in her car, and she was, out of her way. Her car is found in a totally different city on the side of the highway. LaFord, I agree with you. But as I think I stated at the time, I think our experience from other disappearances that we've covered on the program that are like her disappearance, you got to suspect foul play. That would be my first choice. I'm not saying there's any proof of that, but given what we know about other disappearances that are kind of like hers, certainly. Kathy says, LaFord, I think Cynthia was going to meet someone and something happened and she went south to the gas station. Kathy said that. Yeah, Cynthia. Yeah, Cynthia Ba Traore was the last Unfound Now. And her disappearance is still unsolved. And it's been almost a month since we did that Unfound Now. JR asks, what's your theory on the Cassandra Ramirez case? I have to believe that the man in her life did something to her. I don't know if there's a lot of other choices on that. Maybe. But, him saying that he dropped her off so she could go get a Subway. This isn't much different than a guy who goes to bed with his wife. Next morning, he says he got up, she's not there, but all of her possessions and her car and her phone and her purse and everything are there. And he goes, I don't know where she went. It's kind of has the same feeling to me, JR. Something happened. Why? I don't know. But it just is it sounds very flimsy to me. What kind of guy, if he really cares about a woman in his life, just says, yeah, I just dropped her off and she went off and I don't know what happened. It's the same way with Chelsea Cobo. Those two disappearances are very similar. Kind of the same thing. All right. Let's move on to this Friday's disappearance. The disappearance of Rachel Cyriacks. Now you're going to say, well, Ed, that's Cyriacks. That's Cyriacks. No, it's not. It's Rachel Cyriacks. Cyriacks. And I think this is the first time that Unfound is going to the great state of South Dakota. We've gone to North Dakota with Donna Mikolenko. But I think this is our first visit to South Dakota. Woonsocket, of all places. Rachel, she was in a very troubled marriage with a guy named Brad. They had been married at that time for about 12 years. They had 3 children. But he had a lot of stints in jail. And Rachel had a drug habit. And it seems it illegally happened, but they lost custody of their kids. It seems that Brad's father, the kids' grandparents, from California came in, got the kids, and just took them. And so for that, over that final year before Rachel went missing, she and Brad lived without the kids. One was in Iowa, the other two were in California, even though there was no paperwork or anything like that. And the guest for the episode, Rachel's mother, Mary Shabbat, Schabot, two very unique last names for this episode, talks about how Rachel, at the time of her disappearance, was trying to get those kids back. And the story goes that what had happened on Halloween, October 31st of 2013, which just happens to be Rachel's birthday, Rachel and Brad got in a fight. He hit her. She called the cops. He got taken to jail. He was in jail till November 13th. And on that day, Rachel went to pick him up in their truck, a gray Chevy truck. He got out of jail, but she was never seen again. And when he was finally tracked down later, when people finally figured out that Rachel was missing, he was driving the truck that Rachel was driving to go pick him up that day. So this is Rachel Cyriacks, Cyriacks. She disappeared on November 13th, 2013 from Woonsocket, South Dakota. The guest for the episode is her mother, Mary Shabbat. And the title of the episode is The Kids Aren't All Right, kind of doing a play on the Who song, The Kids Are All Right. But we talked quite about, the reason I chose that is because we talked quite a bit about Rachel's children in the episode, about how they did get taken away, how she was trying to get them back. And I think if you read between the lines, I think you're going to get the idea that that was not something that Brad wanted. But obviously, in the end, as with any other disappearance we covered, it's up to you, to decide a lot of these things. So once again, Rachel Cyriacks, Cyriacks, November 13th, 2013, Woonsocket, South Dakota. The guest is her mother, Mary Shabbat. And the title of the episode is The Kids Aren't All Right. Kathy says, JR, I think that guy she was hanging around a lot did something to her. Yeah. Charlotte's getting out of here. Well, it's just about time for me to be getting out of here too, Charlotte, which means all of you will be getting out of here, including the couple trolls that we had tonight. Good. And hi to all of you two trolls. I'm not going to say the name of the first one because that's disgusting. And Sally, you're getting blocked too, so enjoy that. But yes, John O'Brien, yes, thank you for bringing that name up. Yes. Jeff, so sad she went missing on her mother's birthday, yeah? Pamela. Oh, there's Pamela. Hello, Pamela. Hadn't seen you all night. Good to see you. But that's all I got for this live show tonight. Went fast. 2 hours just blow right by. So what we do, of course, talked about disc golf, of course. Talked about the guitar, talked about the keyboards, talked about my diet, talked about going to Orlando, talked about the Gillet poll. Season 2, Volume 2 on Amazon. Do not forget. Updated you that plane from a couple weeks ago was not the one from 1965. Talked about Troy Galloway. Talked about husbands seemingly killing their wives. Craig Freer, Zoe Campos, Bobby Campbell, Little Joe Bain. Unfound Now, the newsletter next Thursday. Took some questions from Elena, D, and Jill, and then finished it as we usually do with this Friday's episode. That's all I got. Hope you all had a great time, including you two trolls that tried to get in tonight. And you know what? We'll just do this all again next week. What do you say? Keep your head on a swivel. Thank you, Cherie. Thank you for moderating. Emily, great to see you in the chat tonight. Carrie, great to see you. All of you, thank you so much. Thank you for the generous contributions through Super Chat tonight. I just cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. Good night. Be safe out there.